a lot of our current products were born out of like internal needs that we had. But occasionally we'll get customers, emailing us just totally new product ideas from scratch. Like we have nothing that sort of does that. And they might say, you know what, I have this need. So usually what it comes from actually is customer need. They'll say, you know what, I'm trying to do this with this product, and we'll look at that and say, you know what, that's sort of an interesting problem that this person has. None of our current products can do it, and there's no way to sort of coax our products into doing it. Is there going to be is there room here for a whole new product in our suite? And at that point, we'd go out and we'd do some market research and find out if there's other demand and things like that before we commit to building a new product. And then the other thing is, like you already touched on it, is our own demand. So we find out, we're having trouble managing a particular process, and maybe there's tools out there that can do it, maybe there's not. If there are tools out there already, are they too difficult to use? Are they too expensive? Do they not quite do what we want? So we might look at that and then decide, okay, maybe we should build this in-house. With those products, what's also interesting, because if we have a need for a product, there's a good indication that probably somebody else does, or there's some area of the market that's not being served that we might be able to address. So that's sort of the product development process. Yeah, in the search engine world, Google's the 500-pound gorilla in the room. So most of the best practices that are suggested in there come from Google's own suggestions, because we know those are safe recommendations, safe changes to make. Mm-hmm. With all of our products, we always try to err on the side of caution. We don't want you doing anything that's going to get your site into trouble or be considered, black hat in the eyes of Google. And then there's a few other usability things that may not be explicitly addressed by Google, but a good example is like if you have a link with empty anchor text. That's the kind of thing where it might just be an omission on your part. You didn't really, you cleaned up a link using a WYSIWYG editor, and you didn't really realize that the tags were still there. Our software will flag that and say, hey, you might want to clean this link up, because it's something that Google may look at and say, oh, they're trying to game the system or whatever here. Mm-hmm. So that's where the best practices come from. It's a combination of what Google suggests, common sense rules, and then a little bit of our own experience as well, things that we've found work well. Even in a practical sense, something like Insite will report if your web page's title is too long, and that comes from, I don't know if Google specifically has a recommendation there, but we know in a practical sense, okay, you can only allow, let's say, 45 characters before it gets cut off in the search engine result. So if you're longer than that, we might suggest shortening that text, because you haven't conveyed your message